After the massive success of the first Ghostbusters film, a sequel was considered inevitable. But there was one big problem. The main actors didn't want to do one, worried it would be impossible to live up to and outdo the first movie. After many delays and behind-the-scenes drama, the studio was finally able to get everyone together for the first time since the last movie came out. And after catching up and sharing some laughs, an idea was pitched for Ghostbusters 2.
It's hot and it's ready to pop.
Yeah!
Instantly capturing the hearts of everyone involved, who eagerly committed to the project. However, during the subsequent writing process, that idea was heavily changed and replaced with the script for the movie we all know, much to Bill Murray's disappointment.
Our next film is Ghostbusters 2, the sequel to the best-selling movie comedy of all time, and it's a major disappointment.
The end result was poorly received and considered largely a copy of the original, albeit with a toning down of its cynical and dark humor. This was done to cater to a broader, family-friendly audience, since so many kids had become fans of the franchise through the animated series. Despite the sequel's relative failure, the film still made money, and the name recognition and popularity of the franchise and the actors compelled the studio to pursue a third film. We finally get one in 2016, but not the one anyone wanted.
We're the best! We're the beautiful! We're the only Ghostbusters!
However, there were a few different versions of Ghostbusters 3 that were developed along the way that would have blown that worthless piece of slime out of the sewers. So let's take a look back at what stopped the boys from getting back together and what could have been Ghostbusters 3. Aykroyd continued to pursue Ghostbusters 3 and took to writing it in his spare time, with the hope that after he finished it, he'd be able to convince everyone to sign on to reprise their roles. And while this version of Ghostbusters 3 went through a few major changes, the core idea remained the same. The Ghostbusters would go to hell. The way it's described by Ray in the script is that hell exists as a parallel existence, an alternate reality existing side by side with our own, but slightly out of phase with what we see. And given the right technology, you could flip a switch and not only see it, but enter it. And since the Ghostbusters live and work in Manhattan, hell wouldn't be some faraway place. It would be a demonic version of Manhattan called Manhelton, where all the worst things about modern urban life are magnified. Traffic is stuck in perpetual gridlock, and all the drivers are swearing at each other in different languages. All the cops are blue minotaurs. Central Park would be a huge peat mine with green demons surrounded by black onyx 1,000-foot-high skyscrapers. And in an incredible example of foresight, Lucifer would have been a Donald Trump-like character named Mr. Luke Seifler, played by Alec Baldwin. This is a fabulous idea, and it avoids one of the things Ghostbusters 2 was criticized for, which was being too similar to the first film. This truly would have been a wild adventure to go on, brimming with endless comedic possibilities thanks to the bonkers setting of Manhelton, and also staying true to the roots of the first film, which was about a startup going into business. The third film would have seen the Ghostbusters mature into a thriving corporation, following the events of the Vigo incident.
Our courteous and efficient staff is on call 24 hours a day to serve all your supernatural elimination needs.
There was just one massive problem. If you thought it was hard to get Bill Murray back after the first movie to do Ghostbusters 2, it became almost impossible to get him back after the failure of that film to do a third one. So with Murray non-committal, Aykroyd reluctantly made the decision to have his character killed off, although he'd reappear for a spectacular cameo towards the finale. In this scene, Murray would have returned as God.
I'm a god.
Disguising himself as Peter Venkman to communicate with the Ghostbusters, who seek the Almighty's help to stop Lucifer from using the real Manhattan as a dumping ground for ghosts. With Murray's absence for most of the film, Aykroyd realized he needed more star power to get it made, and used the opportunity to make this a passing of the torch film and introduce a new generation of Ghostbusters.
Who are you gonna call? Someone else.
Roles were written for Chris Farley, Chris Rock, and Ben Stiller to play 3 of the new Ghostbusters. The closest this film got to being made was between 1998 and the early 2000s, but the original cast demanded a huge cut of gross profits from the film.
I had no idea it'd be so much I won't pay it.
Eventually, the studio negotiated everyone down to a more reasonable figure, except for Bill Murray, who refused to budge even though he'd only be appearing as God in a cameo. Around this time, director of Ghostbusters Ivan Reitman helmed a film called Evolution, which was basically a Ghostbusters knockoff, but with aliens. Between it underperforming at the box office and the Ghostbusters 3 script's setting of Manhelton being too ambitious and expensive to create, the project was abandoned.
Will no longer continue any funding of any kind for your group's activities.
but the kids love us.
It would be revived, however, in 2008 when Harold Ramis, fresh off directing Year One, tasked his writers from that film, Lee Eisenberg and Gene Stupnitsky, to pen a completely new script. Drawing from their experience writing for the widely acclaimed comedy series The Office, the pair wrote another passing of the torch story from the original Ghostbusters to a new group led by Dana's son, Oscar. The start of the film would have seen Peter Venkman die and then spend the rest of the film as a ghost in what would have been a father-son story between him and Oscar, who, along with his colleagues, are studying and researching particle physics at Columbia University. The old Ghostbusters team, now down to 3, have largely been forgotten, and it's up to them to hand over their equipment and train the new team. The only holdout was, you guessed it, Bill Murray, who not only refused to read the script for a year, but when he was told that the writer's previous film, Year One, was really bad, he was totally turned off the project. Aykroyd, on the other hand, defended the script and said Murray was missing out on the comedic role of a lifetime by playing a ghost version of Peter Venkman. After being rejected, the script would undergo yet another rewrite by Ivan Reitman and Tropic Thunder and Men in Black 3 screenwriter Ethan Coen, which wasn't very good either and contained a romantic comedy vibe between a female and male Ghostbuster, which the studio felt was out of place in a film like this. It was at this point that the studio started having second thoughts about Ivan Reitman directing the film, feeling the current draft was mediocre and he was old and out of touch. Tragically, Harold Ramis passed away during this period too.
Oh, we forgot one. Harold Ramis for Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, and Groundhog Day.
And coupled with the studio's mounting pressure for Reitman to step down, he ultimately made the difficult decision to withdraw from the project. With the director's chair open, numerous pitches flooded in from all corners of the industry, including one from Channing Tatum and Joe Russo, director of The Avengers, which also would have featured Chris Pratt. But it was director Paul Feig, who was behind the surprise hit comedy Bridesmaids, that won the job. His pitch was simple: an all-female Ghostbusters team. Sony Pictures enthusiastically greenlit the project. While I understand Bill Murray's reluctance to do a third film after his personal disappointment over the second installment, Dan Aykroyd's Ghostbusters in Hell concept had loads of potential and offered a unique and imaginative new direction for the franchise. Ultimately, however, the unfortunate passing of Harold Ramis, one of the original Ghostbusters and a key creative force behind the franchise, was basically the nail in the coffin for a proper Ghostbusters 3. Until next time, folks, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.